Manx Radio Saturday Live Lounge, supported by Villa Gaiety. For the latest What's On information, visit villagaiety.com.
The incredibly versatile Nothing But Thieves. Oh no! He said what? Yeah, that's the title. We like that a lot here on the Live Lounge. So you are listening to Saturday Live Lounge, and it is very much live. And I have a whole scotch of guests in the studio, about 43 of them taking up the studio. Two of them called Jon, who is sitting opposite me now, so that's not confusing at all. We've got Jon Lightfield, and also we've got Jon Gregory with us, and we're talking about Acoustic Delight. Jon Gregory, it's been a little while since we've chatted, but this is the second of these events. Tell us how it all started.
Well, I think it was the other Jon who had the original idea, and he said, did we want to do something together? And I was totally up for that, because Jon does so much for the music scene in the Isle of Man. He's got, he works with so many different artists. And I said, let's do it. And it's really built from there. And the first event last year went down so well and was just a pleasure to do, really. And I think we worked really well together.
So what would you say, other Jon, which is what I'm going to tell you now, what would you say, Jon Lightfield, is kind of the idea behind it? What is your sort of aim for the events?
Well, I think both Jon and I have an acoustic part of the music at heart. Mm-hmm. I think the fact that we both do a lot of open mic nights and enjoy that, I think that kind of is the foundation for it. And then obviously I wanted to take something in Peel and make it something a little bit different, because there's a lot of entertainment and concerts that are full on with full bands, and that's great. But I wanted to see if we can get a acoustic night. And that worked so well last year, as Jon said, and we sold out. And at the point we had to actually say, sorry, we haven't got any more room because it's fire regulations, etc. So we couldn't say yes to any more people. So then we thought this year, I said to Jon, is there any possibility that we might do a little bit bigger and maybe even better? And he said, yeah, sure.
So bigger and better, Jon Gregory. Tell us more.
Yeah, well, I love Jon's attitude to this, because it really came from him. He said, firstly, do you want to do Acoustic Delight again? So I said, absolutely. And secondly, he was like, right, let's go big. So he said to me, like, are you up for that? I'm like, totally. What's the point in saying, oh, no, let's, we could not do it. We could play in a small event. No, let's go even bigger. And to play in the theatre at the Peel Centenary Centre is, you know yourself, Christy, but it's an amazing place. It's magical. It's one of the best venues in the Isle of Man. There's just such a great atmosphere there. So when Jon suggested this, I said, yeah, let's do it. Because there's a special feeling about that room. And loads of my musical heroes have played there. A ton of them: Eric Bibb, Albert Lee, Seko Kuyati, Cassie Blanton last year. So to be on that stage that all those people stood on means a lot to me as a performer, but also to then give some other fantastic artists the opportunity to do the same. Yeah, it's a no-brainer, basically.
And other Jon. Sorry, he started that now. I'm going to have to carry on with the orders
fine.
now. So with regards to these artists then, tell us who you've got this year and how do you go about choosing the artists?
Well, Jon and I did last year. We decided to try to get as diverse as possible. So we didn't want to have anything that kind of went into his ragtime or my typical songwriter stuff, easy listening. So we wanted to have a variation of that. And we did that last year with Jeff, who's more lean towards folk. And this year we're like, we want to keep that kind of folk, maybe tap into maybe the all the songs with the variation, and who better than Paul Reynolds, who are fantastic to make his interpretation of the songs as well. It's not that I just cover them, he kind of makes them his own, which I love. And then we thought, well, what are we going to do other than that? And then I thought, well, let's get a little bit more rock covers or something like that. And luckily enough, I work with Nell in one of his thousands bands or projects. So I asked Jon, what about Nell? I see he's got a acoustic set with, well, as you're going to present later on, the whole when Kelly met Nelly. And I said, well, I'll ask Nelly, see if they are up for it. And he did ask Kelly, and she said yes as well. So that's it. So we have a very diverse, and the whole night is from rock to ragtime and folk, and yeah.
So it is a great list of musicians. So you've got Jon Lightfield, Jon Gregory, you've got Paul Reynolds, as we just heard, you've got When Kelly Met Nelly as well. We are going to be hearing live music from some of those artists very soon, and we're also going to be chatting with When Nelly Met Kelly, if that makes sense, in just a few minutes, and hearing something live from them. I tell you what we're going to do first, though, so I can set up microphones and things. I'm just going to play a tune in between. So I thought I'll put on something a bit classic. Should we have Looking Glass and Brandy? Go on then.
Western Bay, and it serves 100 ships a day. Lonely sailors pass the time away and talk about their homes. And there's a girl in this harbor town, and she works laying whiskey down. They say, Brandy, fetch another round. She serves them whiskey and wine. The sailors say, Brandy, you're a fine girl. What a good wife you would be. Such a fine. Yeah, your eyes could steal a sailor from the sea. Brandy wears a braided chain made of finest silver from the north of Spain. A locket that bears the name of a man that Brandy loved. He came on a summer's day, bringing gifts from far away, but he made it clear he couldn't stay. No harbor was his home. The sailor said, Brandy, you're a fine girl. What a good wife you would be. Such a fine. But my life, my love, and my lady is the sea. His eyes when he told his sailor story. She could feel the ocean fall and rise. She saw its raging glory. But he had always told the truth. Lord, he was an honest man. And Brandy does her best to understand. At night, when the bars close down, Brandy walks through a silent town and loves a man who's not around. She still can hear him say, she hears him say, Brandy, you're a fine girl. What a good wife you would be. Such a fine. But my life, my love, and my lady is the sea.
Oh, it's just a tune. Brandy, Looking Glass. We are now going to chat to Nelly and Kelly. Nell and Kelly, now called When Nelly Met Kelly. Nell Neal, we've met multiple times before. I will come to you in a minute, Nell. Okay. You're not going to escape. Okay. However, Kelly, this is the first time you've been in the Live Lounge.
It is, yes.
I see your name popping up a lot because you are also someone who is in a number of different groups. So tell us about your music. What do you do?
We do all sorts. So I don't know.
Fully grown adults.
Yeah, so we're fully grown adults. This is where we came up with the idea of When Kelly Met Nelly. I also sing as That Kelly Bird, just on my own, with backing tracks, and I try and do music ranging from every era really, so from like 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s trance dance hits, up until like noughties and stuff. Not too big into music like at the moment.
Yeah. So
but I prefer like the older
crowd
music.
pleasing stuff.
Yeah. So all like the anthems and stuff like Bonnie Tyler and Whitney and
I mean, they're
Cotton Eye Joe, yeah, I do
I
Cotton Eye Joe, bit of Venga Boys.
No way.
And so I'll go from like Venga Boys to ABBA and Evanescence and all that sort of stuff. So I try and
What
mix
a
it up
good
bit.
mix.
So
I'm loving that.
I try.
Now, interestingly, they're all very, very big songs that you just mentioned. So for this, as we're just hearing, it's stripped back. It's Acoustic Delight, this event that you're doing. So how do you go about constructing a set for this? I mean, what sort of songs can we expect from your set then now? What sort of stuff are you guys going to do?
We're still going to do stuff people know, but we're going to try and put our own twist on it, I think, because as you say, it's stripped back. So there's certain things, if you try and do Meatloaf and Bonnie Tyler and things like that, there's a lot of orchestration in those songs. Whereas we've only got one guitar, one voice. So I think we're going to surprise people with what we can do with just those two things.
Are you going to put your leg on any amps? I
Probably.
just need to check.
Yeah, front row.
Yeah, okay, good. Because I'd miss that if you didn't do that. So what does it feel like to you, Kelly? Because obviously you do that at Kelly Bird anyway, so you do sort of your own stuff. But when it is just an acoustic guitar, is it a little bit nerve-wracking or do you enjoy it?
No, I think I found it was more nerve-wracking doing it on my own to begin with. Because when there's more than one of you, obviously you've got someone to fall back on, or if something goes wrong,
Please
you can
don't
blame
fall
the other
over.
one.
I'll take the blame. It's all right, yeah.
But playing with the band and like doing the stuff with Nell, I find it much easier. It's not as nerve-wracking because we're all in the same boat at the same time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but on my own it can be like a little bit daunting, like say if it's a quiet night in the pub or even if it's busy. But after the first song's done, I'm in the swing of things.
It's fine, yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's all
where
good.
did your kind of musical performance kind of start over here then? When did you first start doing this?
So I started singing when I was 10. My singing teacher, Jon Elliott in Peel. So I sang with him for about 16 years. I did the Guild for about 15 years. Did various, just singing in churches and just doing the Guild mainly. And then I just got a bit bored of no offence to the classical side of things. I just got a bit bored of that.
You just wanted a change.
Yeah. But I was on like a 7-year hiatus almost. And then my partner encouraged me to get back into it. So he helped me get the speaker and the PA system and stuff. And he made me sing in the Riddler Under the Nest in the Falcon.
You're quite often there, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm there this evening actually. So
Good shout,
after I've
yeah.
been here, I've got to go. There you
Yeah.
go. Got the hoodie on as well.
Good timing.
So after I finished here, I've got to bomb back to Port Erin and set my stuff up, and I'll be there till after midnight.
So there you go. You can see this lovely lady in the flesh is going to be singing there tonight in Port Erin. Because you're new, we've not yet done your firsts, so I'm going to throw them at you now. So do you remember the first album or record that you bought and what format was it?
I don't. 'Cause I've got a terrible memory. I do remember when I was little though. Mum and Dad had I think it was Michael Bolton's. It's like the mini vinyl that, and Whitney Houston's "I Will Always Love You" little LP thing. But the first one I really remember buying and listening to over and over again was Michael Bublé's first album, and that was on iTunes on my iPod.
That's
was
something she makes. No, you're shaking your head. Don't be
Oh,
judging.
And then like the other ones is like my sister had the double cassette of Belinda Carlisle's album as well, so I used to listen to that a lot.
Good
as well.
big voice like Whitney, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of inspiring.
See,
for
I
a few
can't
months.
get on board with the Bublé thing. Just never did anything for
No,
me.
you don't like him at all, do you?
I like Whitney and I like Michael Bolton and all that. So I just
I
couldn't get on board with Bublé.
But like my mum
Yeah.
was very into like Motown and stuff, whereas my dad was more into his country, like Neil Diamond and Glenn Campbell and stuff. So I've had like a big
Glenn
mixture.
Campbell.
Yeah, so I've had like a good mixture of music growing up in.
Yeah.
So
And what do you remember the first gig you went to? The first sort of big gig you saw that really sticks in your mind?
I didn't go to any until I met my partner, and he actually took me to see, I think we went to see Passenger. That's the first one I ever saw. I think we've seen him 2 or 3 times. But the favourite one I think was about 4 years ago. We went to watch Queen in San Jose, Queen with Adam Lambert.
Oh,
and
my word.
That was something else. That was absolutely unbelievable. It was amazing, yeah.
I mean, that is
Best night
something
ever.
to see.
Yeah.
No, have you ever seen any sort of iteration of Queen at all?
No, I haven't actually.
No.
I wouldn't mind. I know Adam Lambert got a bit of flack really, because he wasn't Freddie Mercury or whatever. But
anyone would get
that's
a bit
the
of
thing.
flack
Anybody's
because
going to
they're
step
not
into Freddie
Freddie
Mercury's
Mercury.
shoes
Tell
deserves
you
a pat on the back.
Not
Yeah.
a single note out of tune, that man, and the outfits were
Right.
outstanding.
There
So
you go.
Yeah, so and that's the thing, you have to be all about the whole sort of visual performance as well when you're doing
Yeah.
that. Well, do you know what I'm going to do in a minute? I'm going to put some Queen on for you, so I'm just sort of like in the background, sort of busily finding a Queen track for you. So we'll do that in a moment. But also, what was your first gig? I mean, maybe it was the Guild, maybe it was something like that. What's the first time you remember performing in front of people?
see, before I started my singing lessons, I was in a group called White Wings, which was kind of like a Christian singing group. It was just to get me singing, really.
And was it
do
with a
that kind of
band,
singing
like a
teaching.
full band?
It was kind of like a choir setup. So we did a few performances around the island, and we actually went to perform in America, and we performed one of the songs on American TV in Oklahoma. Yes,
That's exciting.
so that was a bit crazy. I think I was about 11 when I did that.
Were you in a cult?
No, sounds like we did stay with different families in America, and we stayed in touch with the first family. So we're going to go visit them again in Florida this year. But yeah, so that was where I first.
She's been on TV. We've
started
got a star in
Oh
our
no, but they
midst.
cut me off. I was out of the picture for for most of the song.
Well, that's just
Zoomed out and I
rude.
appeared.
That is just rude.
But yeah, doing this as like that Kelly Bird. It was I think it was New Year's Eve a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
In the Riddler, and then from then I just went around the pubs and clubs and asked if they'd be willing to give me a chance. So I regularly sing in Jack's, the Front Porch, the Riddler, Quids Inn. I'm sorry if I've forgotten anyone else.
Yeah, well, do you know what? That's the thing,
So,
is there are some
yeah.
great venues now which people can sing at, which is really good to know. And there will be a performance from Kelly and Nelly in just a moment. It seems weird calling you Nelly. It really
Nelly.
does.
It just went.
Nelly and Kelly.
What's my real name, Christy?
I'm not allowed to say.
yeah.
No.
We've decided it's a mystery, but we are going to hear from them in just a few moments' time, so don't go anywhere. But I'm just going to drop in a Queen song. It's got to be a short one because we haven't got long. So let's all clap along to this. So simple. So incredibly effective. That is We Will Rock You from Queen, and that is for one of my guests, because we've got Kelly with us, and we're now going to hear from the inimitable duo When Kelly Met Nelly, and they're going to do a huge tune. I've just had a bit of a preview sound checking, and my word, this voice is amazing. Obviously, so's the guitar now. We always know you're amazing.
He's all right.
Thank you.
He's all right, isn't he? He's okay. So When Nelly Met Kelly, take it away.
Where have all the good men gone? And where are all the gods? Where's the streetwise Hercules to fight the rising odds? Isn't there a white knight upon a fiery steed? Late at night I toss and I turn, and I dream of what I need. I need a hero. I'm holding out for a hero till the end of the night. He's gotta be strong and he's gotta be fast and he's gotta be fresh from the fight. I need a hero. I'm holding out for a hero till the morning light. He's gotta be sure and he's gotta be soon and he's gotta be larger than life, larger than life. Somewhere after midnight in my wildest fantasy, somewhere just beyond my reach, there's someone reaching back for me. Racing on the thunder and rising with the heat. It's gonna take a Superman to sweep me off my feet. I need a hero. I'm holding up for a hero till the end of the night. He's gotta be strong and he's gotta be fast and he's gotta be fresh from the fight. gotta be sure, and he's gotta be soon, and he's got to be larger than life. I need a hero. I'm holding up for a hero till the end of the night. Up where the mountains meet the heavens above, and where the lightning splits the sea, I could swear there is someone somewhere watching me. Through the wind and the chill and the rain and the storm and the flood, I can feel his approach like a fire in my blood. I need a hero. I'm holding out for a hero till the end of the night. He's gotta be strong and he's gotta be fast and he's gotta be fresh from the fight. I need a hero. I'm holding out for a hero till the end of the night. He's gotta be strong and he's gotta be soon, and he's got to be larger than life. I need a hero. I'm holding out for a hero till the end of the night.
Yes! What a voice, Kelly. That was amazing. Your guitar was all right as well now.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks. I'll just
It
go
was
now.
brilliant. That was so good. Thank you so much. Nell, you are gigging tonight as well. Tell us
I'm
about
playing in
it.
the Colby Glen tonight with No Stress. That's me and Brendan McLaughlin. Kick off about 9 o'clock, I think.
How many gigs do you do?
I try and get 3 a weekend if I can. Then whatever
my
comes in during the week as well.
And he's got a real job as well.
Yeah, I've got a real job as
I
well.
don't know. And Kelly, you're tonight at the Riddler. Yeah,
Yeah,
what time are you on?
9:30 till late.
And you can obviously see this fabulous pair at Acoustic Delight, which is what we are talking about, which is at the Centenary Centre. It is on the March the 9th, so it's next Saturday. So do get your tickets. We're going to find out more about it and hear from another of the acts in just a few minutes. Oh, it's brilliant. It's the Yard Act. It's the latest one from them. Friends of the show, will have you know. Thanks to Sam Shipstone for the chat about their music a little while ago. More chat in the studio now. We're chatting all about the Acoustic Delight event, which is happening at the Peel Centenary Centre on March the 9th. I'm going to come back to Jon Gregory before we introduce our next musical guest. Jon Gregory, one of the two Johns behind the night. Jon, we've not spoken to you about your first previously because the last time you were in, I wasn't doing this feature. So I need to know your first so we can find out a little bit about you from that side of things. So do you remember the first album you bought?
The first album, and this is a bit of a cop-out because it was a compilation album, and it was called The Hits Tape 6, which was a cassette, obviously compilation album. The actual first proper album, I can't actually remember, but and this is going to tie in with my first gig in a minute, but certainly then started buying a lot of Iron Maiden albums.
Ooh.
Yeah. So Number of the Beast was the first Iron Maiden album I bought.
Nell's approving in the
which
background
is
there.
probably still my favourite one, actually.
Yeah, and that was your first gig as well, was it?
Yeah. It took a few years to see them because I don't think my mum would let me go and see them on an earlier tour. So I think it was Manchester GMAX. And it was the last tour that Bruce Dickinson was on before he left the band. And just to prove how long ago that was, he's been back with the band for 25 years.
Oh,
so
my
it was
goodness.
93 the year was, but yeah, it was great.
Oh,
but I'd been to loads
awesome.
of gigs before that, smaller gigs, but that was the first concert.
And do you
big
remember
concert.
your first gig? Because that wasn't that long ago, was it,
Well,
really?
I actually did do a couple of gigs in the UK before I started gigging here, and the first one was with my guitar teacher back in 1998.
Oh, my word,
And I was just
okay.
playing rhythm guitar, so I didn't do any vocals and I didn't do any lead stuff. I didn't do any finger picking, nothing like I do today. I was basically the rhythm guitarist for my guitar teacher, and we did 2 gigs together. And the second gig that we did, he got banned from the pub, so that was the end of that duo.
Dear. We won't ask why.
But then I started again over here.
What was your first one over here? Do you remember that one?
Yeah, my first solo one, in fact, probably my first one, I think it was the Blues Fringe Festival in 2006.
So that would have still been in Laxey then, wouldn't
in Laxey,
it?
yeah, that's
which
right.
They were such good nights. They were
Yeah.
absolutely brilliant. Well, thank you very much for that. And Jon Gregory, Jon Lightfield behind Acoustic Delight, which is the event that's happening on March the 9th, with a fabulous mix of musicians. We've just heard 2 of them, When Nelly Met Kelly. We're now going to meet one of the other guests and performers, Paul Reynolds. It's lovely to have you with us.
It's a pleasure to be here, I must say.
And this is your first time in the Live Lounge. I can't believe it.
It is, yes.
I'm sorry it's taken me so long.
Oh, not at all.
Just let people know a little bit about your kind of background in music here on the Isle of Man, for those that don't.
Well, I first started going to the Salty Will pub in those days, before it ever got burnt down, with all the folkies that were around in the 1960s and 70s. It would be in the 70s, certainly, when I certainly started playing there. So I didn't pick up the guitar till I went to college at Edge Hill.
Ah, right.
So, yes, I played a few solo bits and pieces, like the open mic section before the main folk band came on. That was Jeff Kerrison and Al Lawrence and Chris Sharples, the late Chris Sharples, Nigel Wood, were all in that band, whose name's just escaping me. They're probably sitting at home shouting at me now. So you know where we are.
And it was a flourishing scene then, I take it?
It was, yeah. Everybody came up from all parts of the island to get at the Salty Will, yes.
Mm. And have you just continued to play throughout that time, or have you had sort of, peaks and troughs?
Played a lot in the 70s. Played in a folk band called Pachin, a 4-piece band, and we didn't release CDs in those days or digitally download. It was actually a cassette.
Yes.
Would you believe, a cassette?
Do you know they're coming back, Paul?
And there
are indie groups now that are still releasing cassettes.
Well, a young man called Terry Clough of Kelly Records produced it, and he made 10,000 of them to sell around garage forecourts.
10,000?
I know. Garage forecourts all through the UK. And you know the royalties we've got? Terry, are you listening? Nothing.
Oh my goodness. He's not bitter though, folks.
No,
really
I'm not
isn't.
bitter,
Yeah.
no.
And you're very active on the scene now, aren't you? Just tell us a little bit about what you do now.
Well, I like to play a bit myself and play very much in the West. So I think you were talking to me before about the Athol Room.
Yeah.
I got together with Dave McLean, and Dave was looking for a Friday night folk club, and I was looking to engage a few local musicians, really, and myself as well included, in performing in Peel. So that's how the Athol Room concerts came about in the winter.
And you've had such a variety of artists playing for you, and it's been so successful. It's a lovely little night, really lovely night to do.
We actually played last night. I didn't play, but Dan Looney of Looney and the Vikings played a wonderful solo set, very personable set.
Well, that's the thing, and it sort of fits in with what we're talking about now, the whole acoustic delivery of music.
Yes.
It's very different because Looney and the Vikings, not an acoustic act, but when you sort of strip it back and do something in this way, it's very different, isn't it?
It was really good. And then we had the Moloch Band.
Oh, the wonderful
reformed.
Moloch Band.
Greg et al. Yeah, they were fabulous, absolutely fabulous. There's a tiny little stage at the sailor shelter, and there were 6 of them on it.
Oh my word!
And talk about tight. Well, they were a tight band anyway. Really very good, but tight in more ways than one.
But a special night, I'm absolutely sure.
It was tremendous, yeah.
So you're playing at this Acoustic Delight event, which is at the Centenary Centre on the main stage.
I don't
very
know why,
exciting.
But I've been asked.
So what can we expect from your set then? What are you going to bring for us?
It's mixture of old stuff, really, some folk standards, and a little bit going into pop as well, but mostly folk, I think.
So again, as we've been hearing
Paxton,
from Jon Lightfield just saying, of course, it's a big mix of genres on these gigs, so it's a lovely night to go to, covering pretty much everything. Before we hear you play, what was it, we've just heard sort of about your first gigs, but what about the first album you bought? Do you remember what that was?
Well, funnily enough, I was thinking it must have been an EP. Because we were very poor in those days, we couldn't afford whole albums. They were 15 shillings or something like that, I think. So it was Carole King and It's Too Late.
Oh, now that is a choice.
Fantastic. And then Days of Future Past by Moody Blues.
Wonderful.
Was the first album when we got round to it. But I also bought a compilation album called The Rock Machine Turns You On.
Oh, there you
remember
go.
That one?
Yeah.
That was a brilliant album. I'd forgotten all about it till Jon mentioned it.
See, the first album I bought was a compilation album as well. It was a soul album. So I think that was, when you're a kid, it's a good way of being introduced to music, isn't it? It's kind of like Amazon recommends now. Well, listen, you're going to play something live for us, which I'm delighted about. What are we going to hear from you?
Right, it's called Forever Autumn. It's from Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds, and it's Justin Hayward's contribution towards it. But it's done a little bit differently. It's quite beaty on the record, and I've taken it.
Stripped it right back.
Yes, that sort of thing.
Well, so Paul Reynolds, it's lovely to have you with us, and it's lovely to hear you play now for us. So I'm just going to, it'll be fab. I'm just going to say, as usual, take it away, Paul.
Okay. The summer sun is fading as the year grows old, and darker days are drawing near. The winter winds will be much colder now you're not here. I watch the birds fly south across the autumn sky, and one by one they disappear. I wish that I was flying with them. Now you're not here. Like a song through the trees, you came to love me. Like a leaf on the breeze, you blew away. Through autumn's golden gown, we used to kick our way. You always loved this time of year. Those fallen leaves lie undisturbed now, 'cause you're not here, 'cause you're not here, 'cause you're not here, 'cause you're not here, 'cause you're not here. Like the song through the trees, you came to love me. Like a leaf on the breeze, you blew away. A gentle rain falls softly on my weary eyes, as if to hide a lonely tear. My life will be forever autumn, 'cause you're not here, 'cause you're not here, 'cause you're not here, 'cause you're not here, 'cause you're not here.
Oh, that was gorgeous. Paul Reynolds live in the studio. What a beautiful version. Jon Lightfield, just before we wrap up, just remind us again where we can get tickets for the Acoustic Delight, the venue, the date, everything.
So it's next Saturday, 9th of March. Our doors open at 7 o'clock. It costs £8 to get in for all this. 4 acts, that's £2 per act.
Always good, isn't he?
Now that is a bargain if you ask me.
Isn't it though?
And you can buy the tickets etickets.im/BJM, or you can look up Acoustic Delight on the event page, or you can go to Peel Centenary Centre or Centenari's website. They have all links to the tickets there as well.
Manx Radio Saturday Live Lounge, supported by Villa Gaiety. For the latest What's On information, visit villagaiety.com.